Mr. Friday saying, this is the way to go. Look what is happening with our other neighbors in the OECS who are doing quite well. And so that's the way that we need to go. And of course, there's been quite a lot of work as well done too by some of what this popular term now, creatives, some of the young musicians in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I'm just going to play a little clip here from United, from UNDP, right? A little bit of their music, about a minute or so, and then a little bit of what the Labour Party has to offer. So when you go to the meetings, they set the scene. This is a bit of what one of those offerings sung like.
And I see what you will be doing every day of my life. I'm impressed. International.
Press one, let me see your five fingers in the air. Lift FPG higher. NDP after this next you must retire. We beating them proper. Coming long term proper. And they will lick them with five in a row. From the 5-star general, five in a row. From the 5-star general, five in a row. From the 5-star.
A million miles in front of them. Hey, it's on the red and out of there. 4 drum, yes, we got this. Hey, nothing in our league. Hey, watch this. When them step in your face and say labor, they just put on the red and go out of the head, yeah. Step in your face and say labor, they just put on the red and go out of the head, yeah. Step on the road with your virgin name Fred, just put on the red and go out of the head, yeah. Step in your face and say labor, they just put on the red and go out of the head, yeah. No one know them a stop this. Straight 4 tone, yes we got this. Labor straight to the sky, we a fly real high, cause you know so we got this. You got to do what you got to. Ralph is him and know that's true. So you got to support and come out and vote, cause you know labor loves when you. When them step in your face and say labor, they just put on the red and go out of the head, yeah. Step in your face and say labor, they just put on the red and go out of the head, yeah. Step on the road with your virgin name Fred, just put on the red and go out of the head.
Yes, indeed. Some music there from the Labour Party in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, played at the rallies. Here's a bit of what has been playing at the UNDP's rallies.
Let me tell you about Luther. He turned stupid and spoiling character. That we should have right before you now. NDP, we showing them how. You hear me? Well, them change Carlos' name to Suwinka. Carlos Patel Matthews Nafreda. Well, yeah. Really what see them want capture. No, sir. Well, let me tell you about Luther. He turned stupid and spoiling character. That we should have ride him as soon as you enter. Don't run for the Democrat Party. Make apologize and tell me say you're sorry. The one your name Vincent and no worry mind. Peace and love we should find. Friday we ready for you now. NDP we showing them how. You hear me? Well run, Carlos run. Well Patel Matthews are come. Well the owner for the land now come. You hear me? Well this love back sound like a fish pot. The government bait it up. Them only cut spot. Well them are treating them so like
yeah.
Treat them like dog like slavery will come back.
Alright.
A little bit of the flavor there in St. Vincent in the Grenadines. Some young people putting together some interesting tracks supporting the parties. And it's going to be Dr. Godwin Friday versus Dr. Ralph Gonzalez. Elections on the 5th of November. It is Winter FM, it's 98.9. It's just 13 minutes after the hour of 11 o'clock. And of course, on Sunday as well, we had the draft report from the review team of CXC exams this time around. You remember, of course, there was quite a lot of for want of a better term, disagreement. That's a good word. Disagreement over the results in some parts of the Caribbean. Other parts of the Caribbean, things went very smoothly. No complaints from St. Kitts and Nevis and other countries. But in Guyana and in Trinidad and Tobago, and I think in Barbados, I know for a fact in Barbados, there were some suggestions and complaints and direct accusations of mismanagement of the process. On Sunday, the chairman of the Caribbean Examination Council, Sir Clive Bacchus, had a virtual press conference in which he stood by the quality of the work offered by the CXC this year, but said there were some areas that require review. And when FM covered that story, here's a bit of what we produced from that virtual press conference.
On March 12, 2020, the World Health Organization declared the situation with COVID-19 a pandemic. It has been referred to as the year of the Great Reset in many fundamental ways. I am happy that during the administration of the 2020 examinations, no reported case of COVID-19 infections were reported among our students, invigilators, or examination workers. We give thanks to God for His many blessings in that regard. It has revealed during this period and tested the resilience of many of our organizational and operational systems and the capacity of leadership to inspire confidence and to effectively mobilize consensus around a prudent plan of action that would mitigate the debilitating impact of the pandemic. The Caribbean Examinations Council is in no way exempted. Overcoming the challenges of the system's limitations through the creative resilience of our staff, valuable staff, and other workers within the administration of examinations, who innovatively and tirelessly improve on the capacity of the Caribbean Examinations Council to effectively respond to the challenge caused by the pandemic. In that regard, we do take note and appreciate the report presented by the independent review panel and wish to acknowledge the recommendations that would have been made and the guidance of our council on the approach in treating with the current situation. We do understand and appreciate the level of communication that is required to ensure that all stakeholders are treated with the kind of respect that is needed, and to ensure that they also are given the clarity and understanding that they would require. In fact, the Caribbean Examinations Council is a regional treasure. As a regional enterprise, it depends on the confidence and trust of the ministers, the Ministry of Education, local registrars, schools, principals, teachers, parents, students, and employers in order for us to continue to provide for the advancement of the human resources within the region. In that regard, we have taken on board many the recommendations made by the panel and would have made for immediate implementation certain adjustment to what we would have communicated to date. For example, the extension of the deadline for the reporting and making of requests from October 23rd to November 6th for persons to be able to make queries and reviews of examinations of their interest. Secondly, we will reduce the fees associated with the request for a review by 50%. So now the request for a review will be $15, and those persons who would have already paid for their review, the difference will be refunded. It is also important to note that the review process will include a remark of the review script. In that regard, if the resulting grade remains the same, this candidate will be advised, and if the resulting grade is increased, the candidate will be advised, as well as a full refund of the review fee. In cases where the review would perhaps indicate a decrease in grade, such situation will not occur. In fact, the policy where a review can result in a reduced grade will be discontinued for this session. It is also important that additional capacity will be put in place to ensure that queries can be dispatched immediately and resolved in the shortest possible time. And this week, that capacity will be put in place to ensure that candidates can get almost an immediate response to the query that they have raised. In fact, the backlog should be cleared by this week. In that regard, those who are currently seeking to have a direct contact with CXC, the provision will be put in place by the end of this week for persons to interact directly with the Caribbean Examinations Council online for a review request, thus shortening the time between the request for review and the return of the results. That means you don't necessarily have to go through your local registrar in all instances, particularly for those persons who are still intending on matriculating into universities. The implementation of those recommendations will be for immediate effect. There are other recommendations for the midterm and long term, which we are incorporating in our strategy of the Council going forward to ensure that the ecosystem is clearly and coherently advised, informed of all the requisite changes and processes that we must collectively execute for an optimal ecosystem that is able to respond to the needs of this region.
As the Registrar of the Caribbean Examination Council, Dr. Wayne Wesley. And I do apologize for our listeners. I did say UNDP. It's actually NDP. That party in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the opposition party that's contesting the elections. So a number of measures announced there by the registrar have until the 6th of November to seek a review. The fee is cut by 50%, and you can now apply directly to CXC for a review without having to go through the local registrar. And the chairman of the Caribbean Examination Council also said that there would be a meeting with ministers of education on Monday to basically discuss the way forward for the Caribbean Examination Council, and said there's going to be a review of the entire, what he called, ecosystem of the CXC. And that story was carried on Win FM as well.
Chairman of the Caribbean Examination Council, Sir Hilary Beckles, says a review of this year's controversial CXC exams proved they were conducted in a professional manner, but there is an urgent need for an evaluation of the current ecosystem. Speaking at a virtual press briefing on Sunday, October 18th, Sir Hilary said the draft report of the independent review team would be presented to regional ministers of government today, Monday, October 19th.
The meetings tomorrow and today will enable the review team to have the opportunity to finalize its report, which we are mindful to release to the public on Tuesday following the meeting of the management with the Ministers of Education. The management of CXC will then proceed to roll out a public engagement strategy to begin the healing process.
Officials introduced new measures to cope with the fallout of the coronavirus pandemic, including a 100% moderation of school-based assessments, or SBAs. The published results sparked consternation and protest action in some CARICOM countries. Some accused CXC officials of presenting flawed grades, prompting the establishment of the independent review team that submitted its report on Friday, October 16th.
I will now make a few comments, general comments, in respect of the general findings expressed in the draft report. That the CXC, the organization, did well within the context of the COVID pandemic to recommend and to have approved and to implement an innovative, modified examination strategy for the region. That the modified approach is educationally and technically sound. That the system of marking and the adjudication of performance and assessments is technically sound and quality assured. That CXC conducted its remit in a professional manner befitting its reputation and competence.
The CXC chair conceded that the handling of some issues by CXC officials contributed to the misunderstanding and anxiety.
That the public outcry, primarily from these stakeholders, originates largely in the notion of expected performance outcomes where predictions were sometimes at variance with performance. That there were sometimes technical challenges in the examinations, communications between the CXC and some schools. That in some instances, CXC could have responded to these concerns from students and schools and parents with greater alacrity, notwithstanding the logistical and other technical challenges associated with the COVID-19 pandemic. But critically, that all of these challenges, notwithstanding, the fundamentals at the CXC are sound, but that the relationships within the system must now be made more efficient.
The Caribbean Examination Council reports more than 2,000 requests for reviews of CAPE results and more than 2,500 requests for reviews of CSEC results. The cost of review has been cut in half to US $15 each, and if successful, a refund would be made. The council also said it would continue moderating 100% of the student-based assessments next year.
In this regard, within the 23 recommendation made, plus other recommendations derived from the meeting of the council following its discussion of the report, that there is now a very urgent need, an immediate need, to address all of the specific concerns raised by stakeholders, students, schools, principals, teachers, parents, and to address all of these within the regulatory structure of CXC that are provided for such discussions, to address them with immediate urgency. That it is necessary for the ecosystem to undergo an audit review. That is, all of the parts of the educational system in which CXC is a critical component, the relationships between all of these components must now be audited, reviewed, and enhanced.
You tuned to Red FM 90.9, and there you had it from the chairman of the Caribbean Examination Council, Sir Hilary Bacchus. Our news coverage of that press conference held on Sunday, and we were told then that the full report will be made public, while there was a consideration about the full report being made available today. So, it's 11:30 in the morning. You're listening to Voices on Win FM 98.9.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Feel the magic happening.
Campari.
Taste.
Something incredible happens when Campari is mixed just right. Like Campari and orange juice poured over ice. Taste it. Try it tonight. Bitter, sweeter, better. Campari. Must be 18 years and older. Drink responsibly.
Hey kids, drink healthy! Reduce sugar chubby with the same great taste. Lots of magic fruity flavors, drink the more healthy way.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby.
25% less sugar chubby. Be active, be healthy, drink lots of chubby. Kicking, football, playing cricket, having fun in the sun.
It's chubby.
Reduced sugar chubby keeps you cool and refreshed.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby.
25% less sugar chubby. Jumping rope, running races, have fun.
It tastes so yummy, chubby.
Drink the more healthy way.
You tune to Win FM, it's 90.9 on your dial. Well, we have an open forum today. We had a look at what's happening in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, election action, as the voters will go to the poll on the 5th of November. Some coverage of the CXC, a virtual press conference held on Sunday. So the very latest updates from the registrar and the president of the council, the chairman of the council. Our telephone numbers are 466-0989, 662-0989, 762-0989. We'll next turn our attention to the World Health Organization. Recent briefing yesterday and the announcement that Sister Sledge is going to be involved in a project, sort of a We Are the World project. We're going on to the Director General of the World Health Organization. Their briefing yesterday, Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus.
Thank you, Fadila. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I want to start the week off on a happy note. I'm delighted to announce that WHO has the honor of working with Kim Sledge of the legendary group Sister Sledge and Natasha Mudhar, founder of the World We Want organization. Together, we're ready today announcing the start of a new We Are Family campaign to promote global solidarity and collaboration in the face of COVID. We're Family is a global anthem that calls for what the world needs most right now: solidarity, unity, and collaboration. Working together as a global family for the future. I would like to thank Kim Sledge for her kind offer to donate proceeds from the sale of her special edition cover of We're Family to the WHO Foundation. This is in support of the COVID-19 response and strengthening health services around the world. I would also like to announce that we will have the honor of having Kim Sledge sing We Are the Family at the opening of the 73rd World Health Assembly, which resumes on the 9th of November. I now would like to introduce Kim Sledge and Natasha Mudhar to describe the motivation for the We Are Family campaign and how it will work. Kim, the floor is yours.
Muted?
Can you unmute?
Is that better? Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, now good.
Ah, there we are. Hello, Dr. Tedros. What an honor it is to be here. And hello, other wonderful, privileged and esteemed guests. Oh, I am so honored to be here today. I am so grateful to be a part of this very, very real and sincere desire for the world to unite, particularly those here, your heart and your ways and your voice, and what I've heard you say about how the world needs to be united. And this is a solidarity effort for a global concern. We all, every tribe, every tongue, every nation, every people have the banner of love over us and desire to bring us together in this world to fight the kinds of things that come against who we are and lifting our generations. So a very, very dear friend of mine, Mr. Lou Weisbach from Chicago, called me one day and he said, listen, I have in my heart the desire to have us come together to begin to fight this pandemic that is attacking our world. And he had been working on something for quite a long time with this. And he felt that We Are Family was the perfect song to bring the world together for this. Well, I called my dear friend Natasha Mudhar from The World We Want and in London. And she said, Kim, that's an incredible idea. Let's come together on this. So we've come together here today with that privilege and that challenge to come against this, fight against it. And I know together we are unity strong and we can do this as a family because we are one big global family. I am so excited and I'm so honored and I am so taken in my heart to do whatever I can as humankind to bring our hearts together and fight this. And there's a verse that my mom used to always say. She said, where there is unity, the Lord commands a blessing. Where there is unity here, and the blessing will be fighting against this, and eventually one day this being wiped off of our planet because it has no right to take the lives that have been taken. And together with what we've been given and our gifts and what God has given us in terms of our desire to live and to preserve life, I know we will win against this. So I'm thanking you today for the honor of being here. I'm thanking you for where your heart is. I'm thanking my friend Lou Weisbach for his esteemed work towards this, for my dear, precious friend, Natasha Mudhar, who has pulled us all together. So that's why I'm here. It's time to go for it. The banner over us is love, and together we are unity strong because we are family. That's why I'm here. And well,
thank you. Thank you so much, Kim. That was really wonderful and uplifting.
Oh, thank you.
And
thank you, sir.
To quote you again, we are one big global family. That's what you said. So
Yes,
thank
we
you
are.
so much. And then you also said, I know we will win.
Yes, we will.
That's it. So thank you so much indeed. And I will add to that, together, we will
You know what?
we will do it. We will win. Thank you so much, Kim. Much gratitude from all of us here.
And Dr.
from those who
Tedros, I
are
wanted
listening.
to say something to you real quick. I don't want to interrupt you, but I want to say this. We are family. I got Dr. Tedros with me.
We have been trying here also. You will listen to our product in a few minutes. I hope we haven't done. I hope we have done some a bit. Yeah, thank you again. Now I would like to hand over to Natasha Mudhar of The World We Want. Natasha, you have the floor.
Thank you, sir. It's an absolute honor, absolutely humbled, privileged to have this opportunity to be speaking to everybody here on this panel today, and to share a little bit more about our story as to how the whole of what We Are Family means for us and for this particular project. As Kim said, it's been in the making for a few months now. And I was asked earlier, actually, in another interview that we were doing, is, you know, why now are you releasing this, and why not in March, and why not in April? And the reason why now is because the pandemic that we're all facing is as relevant as it is today as it was 5-6 months ago. And with our music video that we're producing, which will come out towards the end of the year, we want it to be kind of a real clarion call that, you know, this beautiful, real global world families coming together in unity, in solidarity, not just in 2020, but also in looking towards 2021 as well, to address any global health challenge that we ever face, including and beyond the COVID pandemic. And I think what I absolutely love about the project that we've incepted with We Are Family and the new cover edition that Kim has beautifully created is the fact that the mission with the song is to make it the most globally inclusive and diverse anthem for unity and solidarity as best as we can. And by that I mean, yes, you know, we are encouraging all of the biggest, most high-profile individuals in our world, such as celebrities, public figures, prime ministers, presidents, etc., everybody to be involved. But this is really for everyone and everywhere, everyone everywhere. And that's why we are really encouraging the global public to join our efforts in unity and solidarity, to come on board, to record their videos of them lip syncing or singing along to We Are Family, sharing those videos with us on social media, even on our website, unitystrong.com. So we can actually include that in this very cool music video that we're putting together, bringing the whole world together in one music video. Yes, and I think the other thing I'd like to add is the fact that music, we all know, is such a powerful source of energy, comfort, so many memories attached to it as well. But what is so powerful about music, and what we feel will be so powerful about this particular campaign and the song and the video, is that it will not only just entertain, but inspire action. Inspire action insofar as encouraging everybody to be a lot more empathetic, as I believe that's something that we really need in the world, in the here and now, and just really bringing everybody together.
Thank you so much, Natasha. That's really great, and I hope this will inspire action, as you rightly said, and we're very honored to partner with you. Now, back to you, I think, for the in-house video.
Thanks so much to our very special guests. Now back to Dr. Tedros for his opening remarks to continue his speech. No, before that, I think I will hand over to Paul Gawood, my colleague.
You're tuning in to FM 90.9, and next up there from the WHO's briefing yesterday. And the news that just like you had We Are the World, that campaign that brought together celebrities, artists from around the world in the battle against HIV/AIDS, the announcement from the World Health Organization that Kim Sledge will be part of a collaboration to put together a We Are a Family video, a music video that will be, I think, launched at the 73rd World Health Meeting on the 9th of November. So interesting indeed. And we will join the WHO a bit later on to bring you the very latest update as well. Well, you're listening to Win FM. It's 90.9, you're in Voices, and we're doing our very best to keep you informed of what's happening here. Just in case you missed a few things, we're trying to bring you right back up to speed. All compliments, Rams Trading.
Every day, your immune system is compromised. You use up vitamin C quickly and even faster with stress and cold. Burst back into life with Halib Orange. Burst back into health with 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, as much as in 12 oranges. Each effervescent tablet is bursting with fresh fruit flavour. Sparkling orange, lemon and sugar-free blackcurrant, also suitable for diabetics. Health never tasted so good. Halib Orange, bursting with flavour, bursting with health.
Feel the magic happening.
Campari.
Taste.
Something incredible happens when Campari is mixed just right. Like Campari and orange juice poured over ice. Taste it. Try it tonight. Bitter, sweeter, better. Campari. Must be 18 years and older. Drink responsibly.
13 minutes now before the midday hour. You're tuned to Win FM, it's 90.9. Good to be in your company this morning. I will continue our coverage of matters regional and international. We'll go back to that briefing for the World Health Organization, the very latest COVID-19 briefing by Director General of the WHO, Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus.
To those who had a chance to follow our conversation, I would like you to join us, Kim Sledge, and Natasha, in the new We Are Family campaign. Now moving into the next. On Friday, we discussed the worrying phase that COVID-19 pandemic has entered. As the Northern Hemisphere enters winter, we're seeing cases accelerate, particularly in Europe and North America. It's encouraging to see many leaders communicating with their populations about targeted measures that are needed to slow down the spread of the virus and protect health workers and health systems. As cases go up, the number of people needing beds in hospitals and intensive care also increases. Nurses and doctors have a much better understanding of how best to treat people with the virus than they did in the early days of the pandemic. However, when hospital capacity is reached and exceeded, it's a very difficult and dangerous situation for both patients and health workers alike. So it's important that all governments focus on the fundamentals that help to break the chains of transmission and save both lives and livelihoods. This means active case finding, cluster investigations, isolating all cases, quarantining contacts, ensuring good clinical care, supporting and protecting health workers, and protecting the vulnerable. We're in this for the long haul, but there is hope that if we make smart choices together, we can keep cases down, ensure essential health services continue, and children can still go to school. We all have a part to play. Physical distancing, mask wearing, hand hygiene, coughing safely into your arm, avoiding crowds, and meeting people outside where possible. And when you have to be inside with others, open windows and ensure good ventilation with non-recirculating air. I know there is a fatigue, but the virus has shown that when we let our guard down, it can surge back at breakneck speed and threaten hospitals and health systems. On 9 October, I shared that 171 countries and economies were part of the Gavi, CEPI, and WHO-led COVAX initiative for vaccine access. I'm pleased to announce today that now 184 countries have now joined COVAX. The most recent countries joining over the weekend are Ecuador and Uruguay. COVAX represents the largest portfolio of potential COVID-19 vaccines and the most effective way to share safe and effective vaccines equitably across the world. Equitably sharing vaccines is the fastest way to safeguard high-risk communities, stabilize health systems, and drive a truly global economic recovery. As winter comes, we know that the next few months will be tough, but by working together today and sharing life-saving health supplies globally, including personal protective equipment, supplies of oxygen, dexamethasone, and vaccines when they are proven to be safe and effective, we can save lives and get through this pandemic. As Kim said, we are one big global family. I thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tedros. Just to inform you that this press conference is being translated into the official UN languages, Arabic, Chinese, French, English, Spanish, but I apologize, today we do not have Russian translation, but we have Portuguese and Hindi. Now I will open the floor to questions from journalists. I remind you that you need to raise your hand. Use the raise your hand function in order to get in the queue to ask your question. So we will start with Naomi from CNN. Naomi Thomas, CNN, I think you have a question.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, very well. Go ahead, please.
Hi, my question is actually for Kim, if she's still available.
She is. Go ahead.
I was hoping that she could share with us what she thinks the messaging and the lyrics of the song mean during the pandemic.
Kim, did you hear the question?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, very well. Go ahead.
Okay, all right. Thank you for your question. I will say first what it means is very personal to me because I have two members of my family, my husband and my daughter, who are physicians, who are on the front line. So we are family already. The family words are about family, but the world is a family. And those words are calling us together as a family to embrace one another through this time. And I feel that the song itself is one that has been about solidarity. It's about what families do when there's times of crisis, and that is come together, look out for each other, find ways to solve solutions that makes the whole family strong. And this world family will be much stronger as a world family, as we embrace those words, as we attack and bring about what needs to happen to resolve anything that conflicts and causes a problem with our world family. So that's why We are family.
Thank you, Kim Sledge, for these very powerful words. I would like now to pass the floor to Sophie Mokoena from SABC, South Africa. Sophie, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Dr. Tedros pointed out that the numbers are growing. There are reports in South Africa that we are likely to see a second wave of the pandemic. I just want to find out from WHO, are you sensing that we are heading towards a second wave of these COVID-19? And at the time where our Minister of Health, Dr. Zweli Mkhize, announced yesterday that he tested positive for COVID-19.
Yeah, thank you, Sophie. Dr. Ryan will take this question. Dr. Ryan, you have the floor.
Sure, and our sympathies regarding that positive case again. We're always troubled to learn of COVID-19 and leaders, especially given their need to lead, but also for them and their families. With regard to South Africa is in a sort of steady state. South Africa has come down off a very high level of transmission, down to levels approaching earlier parts of the year, and currently is, I think, reporting about 11,000 cases weekly, about 189 new cases per million population, and very little change in either the number of cases or the rate of deaths. So in that steady state, and you've seen other countries in the Northern Hemisphere reach that steady state and then start to track back upwards. And I think this is what we really need to try and avoid, if we can, avoid that inexorable move towards more transmission. When you look across Africa as a whole, there's a mixed pattern. In general, in the continent, the overall situation for sub-Saharan Africa, for the WHO Regional Office for Africa, is about 31,473 cases for the week, about 1.3 cases, 1.3% of new global cases, and just over 1,000 deaths in the countries in our Afro region, representing 2.9% of new global deaths. So you can see there, the cases may certainly be underreported. We don't believe the deaths to be as grossly underreported, and therefore Africa as a whole is still very, very low down on the impact side of COVID, but the impacts in Africa are being generated by other losses, socioeconomic and healthcare losses as well. So Africa is suffering, development is suffering, society is suffering, and making lots of sacrifices to keep this disease under control. So yes, there is a chance, and we do know from the emerging, and Maria may speak to the availability of seroprevalence data in Africa, it's patchy enough. But again, we're not seeing huge numbers of percentage of the population having history of exposure. So there is still a long way for this pandemic to go in South Africa, in the rest of Africa. But we do believe that the young age profile, the community focus of the interventions so far, and the ability to do good case finding and contact tracing has helped African countries in stemming the worst of this so far. But again, we've seen countries do okay in the first wave, and many countries may have just received a glancing blow, and we don't know to what extent in some cases countries got it right, and in other cases countries were just a little bit luckier than others. But what we're seeing now is the second wave. Even if you look at Asia and Southeast Asia, we're seeing countries that were very little affected in the first sort of wave being more affected now. And again, in Africa, we're seeing some countries that had very few cases in the first wave are seeing more activity now than they saw before. So therefore, it's really, really hard to predict what the next wave holds for any country. But what South Africa has done, and to its great credit, it has crushed that curve. It has saved a lot of lives, as many other countries have. The real question now is the extra effort it's going to take to keep that number low, to keep pushing that number down and down and down relentlessly until you reach enough control so that other measures and restrictions on people's lives and livelihoods can be released, and that the public health action linked to the community action is enough to keep this disease under control.
That's Dr. Michael Ryan of the World Health Organization, press briefing yesterday. The very latest situation with COVID-19. Questions from journalists. We'll continue with more when we come back. We could break now to bring you the headline news. We'll be back in just about 12:30 or thereabout to bring you the second segment of Voices. We wish you a very good morning. Stay tuned. We've got the headline news coming up.
You found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts, offering 24-hour nursing, therapeutic, and residential care for older adults? It's situated at Otley, 7 miles east of Vastair, in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodation to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020, fax 466-8221, or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com, or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Dealing well with a low reputation and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. People that you can trust, your business, property, we got you covered. Motor or personal, whatever it is, we got you covered. 130 years in this business, we got you covered. For all your insurance needs, visit or call us at 465-2631 or 469-5303. Delia Walwyn, people you can trust.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Without limits, happy and free. The skin you're in with no apology. The one to seize the day. Grab an LLB. Live, love, be. With LLB. Live, love, be. Live, love, be. Be who you know you can be. Grab an LLB. Live, love, be. Angostura, lemon, lime, and bitters. Live, love, be.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world. Whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous, you can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air. We get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises, telephone number 466-9595.
The Solid Waste Management Corporation is gearing up for the reopening of borders on October 31st. Representatives from the Solid Waste Management Corporation were on the Talking Trash segment of Island Tea on Tuesday, October 20th, to speak about proposed practices to be implemented on November 1st.
At the forefront is our safety of our staff
as persons are aware, our service is interactive. That is, our men go out for the collection and they not only interact with the person, but they interact with the waste. And so, the good thing about it is that we have already been through some levels of the COVID, and so we have an idea of how we should prepare, and we go back to that platform where we're asking persons to double wrap their waste if necessary. By now, most of the community will have bins. We're asking persons to please pack the bins properly, place the lid on so that there's little to no exposure to our men. Just place your waste out on collection day and keep it on your premises when you do not have a collection date. What we did last time is, and something that we might have to consider, is that we had to decrease the number of days because, again, we have to decrease the amount of interaction of our staff and the public. It is something that is on the table. However, we are lining up behind the government, and so until the government makes a decision, we will continue our twice-a-week collections in all of the areas. Our men are expected to wear masks, and we're asking the public, if there's a need to interact with our men verbally, that you wear masks when you are approaching our staff to speak to them, or even when you're coming to our headquarters. Specifically, when you're interacting with our staff at the landfill, and let me say this, persons will not be allowed onto our landfill if they are not wearing a mask. We're going to have temperature checks on arrival, and we are now setting up sanitation areas where people can have proper hand washing. So these are a number of measures that we are intending to implement as of the 1st of November.
There was some emphasis on the safeguarding of personal waste to promote a safe disposal process, not just for the employees of solid waste, but also for the community as a whole.
What have been happening is that persons just have a tendency to dump or place their waste outside regardless if they have collection or not. No, this is going to bring exposure not only to our men but to the public, and we are asking just for sanitation purposes to safeguard your waste. You have your bins have lid. If you do not have a bin, double bag your garbage and keep it on your premises. We have seen a decrease because of the bins with dogs are getting involved and all of that, and we want to continue that practice. We have really seen a general tidiness of the whole federation on a whole since the of the bins, and so we're asking persons to continue this. The men them have really benefited from this practice, and it is a safeguard against even the interaction of the waste with our men with contaminated waste.
Solid Waste has also initiated a measure to help limit the contact of their staff and the general public with the use of a QR code.
One of the things that we are doing also in anticipation for this is a QR code, and the QR code we intend to have it properly affixed at our offices, and I'll explain a little bit about it on Facebook, on our Facebook page, and also on our web page. Now, what that QR code is, and those persons with smartphones, they can easily scan it, and it will give them outline the collection days, the collection schedule. So and again, because we're trying to limit the amount of contact that is made with our staff, persons can readily go on Facebook, and this will be up for the 1st of November. Persons can readily go on Facebook or on our web page and scan the code, and it would take them directly to the schedule. And so we are excited to have that begun, to have that initiative started, and the code has already been prepared, it has already been tested, and so we are just waiting to include it.
As officials brace for a potential increase in coronavirus cases when the borders reopen month-end, the government moved to extend the state of emergency from Monday, October 19th to December 31st. Attorney General Vincent Byron moved the resolution in Parliament on Thursday, October 15th.
The state of emergency does give to our medical team, does give to those who continue to advise, to work to have people comply, the tools by which we can ensure that our people are protected. And as we go over the next couple of weeks to move to open the borders, the state of emergency will not interfere with that, but will allow our medical teams, our security forces, our task force to be in a position to administer our response to COVID-19.
Opposition leader Dr. Denzel Douglas expressed discomfort with an extension of the state of emergency.
We still question whether it is absolutely necessary to remove, to restrict the civil liberties and freedoms of citizens of this country in order to be able to manage the COVID-19 pandemic as a result of the spread of the coronavirus. We believe that we can continue to prevent the spread of this virus and thus the negative effect of this pandemic through other legislation. For example, the COVID-19 Prevention and Control Bill 2020, which we had a first reading for this morning in this assembly. It is because of that uncomfortable feeling that I'm asking, why couldn't we have introduced this today, have its full effect as a means, as an instrument of controlling the spread of the virus, rather than having to resort to a furtherance of the state of emergency, which people are uncomfortable with.
Mr. Byron said he understood concerns about people's individual rights, but the COVID-19 situation demanded such action.
States of emergency, Mr. Speaker, that occur in countries around the world, as we have seen it over time, tend to have a military component. Barricades, guns, where there's civil unrest. That's what we understand the state of emergency to be normally. There's a threat to life in a different way, from bullets flying. Even today we see protests in some countries in Eastern Europe, or war. In our case, as it is in most of the world, there is a fear, a deep concern, that if we don't have the tools to manage and control the transmission of COVID-19, it could affect some relative of ours, some person we know. There is a concern. The member opposite has said, well, we don't need it. We could use the Public Health Act or even our COVID-19 Act. The COVID-19 Act is not in place yet. We have had a first reading. And I'm not trying to be pedantic, but it gives time, hopefully over the next couple of weeks, few weeks, before we fully open, for it to be circulated and understood, not only by members of this parliament, by the community at large.
Attorney General Vincent Byron on Thursday, October 15th, moved a resolution to appoint a select committee to review the conduct of the National Assembly.
This is a resolution which is brought to establish a select committee of this national parliament made up of members on both sides of the aisle. The resolution is intended to establish such a select committee for us to review the standing orders that we are governed under.
Mr. Byron reads the names of the members of the Select Committee.
Of the standing orders and the composition of the committee shall be as follows. The Honorable Eugene Hamilton, Leader of Government Business, Chairperson. The Honorable A. Michael Perkins, Speaker of the National Assembly. Honorable Eric Evelyn, representing the government. The Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, representing the opposition. And the Honorable Dr. Joel Clark, representing the opposition. Mr. Speaker, this is a very straightforward and simple resolution, but is timely. It is important that we consider all aspects of the conduct of this Parliament.
The motion was supported by the Leader of Government Business, Eugene Hamilton.
Mr. Speaker, notwithstanding that I'm named in the resolution, I rise to second the motion, and in doing so, to indicate that this committee had been formed during the last sitting of Parliament, but time overtook the work of the committee. Indeed, we did some work, not without our challenges, but we had drawn from and will continue to draw from the best practices in the region in putting together any report that is to be considered by the Parliament. And so I do support this resolution. May it please you.
And the support of the Leader of the Opposition.
Lend my support, of course, to the commissioning of this particular commission. I think the standing orders have been relatively, I wouldn't say archaic, but they need to be modernized. And I believe that it's good that this is taking place. At this time, I wish that the committee will be able to do its work in a very timely manner and also in a very comprehensive way, so that we can bring the standing orders of this Parliament in line with not only what practices are pursued in modern countries, but in particular here in the region. May it please you, Mr. Speaker.
Speaker Michael Perkins also commented on the resolution.
Just one small point I would like to highlight. One of the reasons it has become necessary for us to seek to revise and update our standing orders is, for example, our standing orders at this time do not speak to the transmission of information to members electronically, even by emails, or at times create. What that clearly would be one of the amendments and improvements we'll make going forward, that the standing orders would provide for the transmission or the distribution of information electronically.
Now time for the regional news segment.
Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries Floyd Green has been unanimously voted as Vice Chair of the 36th Regional Conference of the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, FAO. Green, in representing Jamaica, urged the FAO to utilize its capacity in resource mobilization to help small island developing states with the challenges they face. The minister was speaking on day one of the 3-day regional conference on Monday. The Agriculture Minister said it is critical that the FAO plays a leading role in helping the Caribbean region to transform its food systems throughout establishing appropriate storage and distribution mechanisms, including cold chain systems, to ensure that there is food security and a resilient supply chain across the islands of the region. The conference, which is being hosted by Nicaragua, brings together ministers of agriculture from the regions to combat the challenges related to food and agriculture while strengthening regional ties with member states. At the seminar, the minister spoke to impact of COVID-19 on the tourism sector and the farmers and the fisherfolk in the country and the region at large. He highlighted the government of Jamaica's buyback program aimed at purchasing excess produce from farmers impacted by the coronavirus. He underscored the importance of programs by government bodies to support local farmers and fisherfolk and the most vulnerable in societies. In more news from Jamaica, People's National Party PNP presidential candidate Mark Golden has reprimanded former St. Anne Northwestern Member of Parliament Dr. Dayton Campbell for comments made on a political platform in St. Anne last week, which has since attracted widespread criticisms from onlookers. Campbell, who is supporting Golden in his bid to replace Dr. Peter Phillips as PNP president, raised eyebrows on Thursday when he told party delegates to vote for the candidate who has the capital and backing of the private sector. Monday, Golden sought to clarify Campbell's comments ahead of the November 7th internal election while suggesting that they were clumsily stated. I think the broader point that Dayton was trying to make was that the party needs resources to function effectively as a political organization, and that part of the role of the leader must be to try and attract those resources. I think that was the broader point that he was trying to make, Golden told editors and reporters during a Jamaica Observer Monday exchange. In the course of it, speaking on a platform, I think some things were said that ought not to have been said. I've spoken to him about it, and I think we'll move on from there. But the broader point as to the importance of resources is a real one, he added. He said, as it relates to whether or not the person who next leads the opposition party must be rich, that is not a requirement. It has to be somebody with credibility, somebody who is seen by the wider community as worthy of support so that resources can flow through the party, he added. Several members of the PNP have publicly stated that the party has found itself in a less than ideal position financially. Equally, others have chalked up the party's dismissal performance at the polls in the recent years to a lack of resources brought on by a major campaign donation scandal in 2016, 5 months after its shock defeat to the Jamaica Labour Party, JLP. The PNP is yet to recover from the damaging allegations of misuse of campaign donations by some of its candidates in the general election that year.
We now bring you this international report.
Hello, this is Julie Candler with the BBC News. The US Department of Justice has charged Google with breaking antitrust laws, accusing the company of abusing its monopoly over online searches. The lawsuit, which follows repeated fines by competition regulators in Europe, is expected to last years. Google has always denied abusing its market dominance. In a brief statement, it described the US government case as deeply flawed. Michelle Fleury is in New York.
For a long time, this was an industry that was largely allowed to make up its own rules, and then increasingly has drawn scrutiny in recent years from lawmakers, from the public as well, in terms of how its data is being used. We've seen in the EU cases have been brought against some of these companies, but we haven't really seen that on this side of the Atlantic, and that's really what's beginning to happen here. Facebook, Amazon, Apple, and today, of course, Google, we know, have all been under investigation for some time. This is the first lawsuit that's been brought.
An indefinite 24-hour curfew is due to have come into effect in Nigeria's biggest city, Lagos, and the entire state, as unrest sparked by police brutality continues in many parts of the country. The governor said criminals had infiltrated the protest movement. He said he would not allow anarchy to engulf the state. The United States' most senior military commander in Afghanistan says a rare chance for peace is being jeopardized by increasing violence. General Scott Miller blamed both Taliban militants and Afghan government forces. Lise Doucette is in Kabul.
General Scott Miller commands the last of the US-led NATO forces in Afghanistan. In a rare interview, he told the BBC escalating violence by the Taliban, but also government forces, was now putting this rare chance for peace at risk. Under a recent US-Taliban deal, the remaining foreign troops are expected to leave by next spring. He wouldn't be drawn on this timetable, but he made it clear Afghan forces had to be ready for the pullout. For now, he's focused on giving Afghan government forces as much support as possible in the face of intensifying Taliban attacks.
Israel and the United Arab Emirates have been further strengthening their ties during the first ever visit to Israel by an Emirati delegation. Yolande Nell reports from Jerusalem.
After the Etihad Airways plane touched down at Ben Gurion Airport, the Emirati delegation was greeted by the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Today, we're making history in a way that will stand for generations, he said. Israel and the UAE have already made several commercial deals since President Trump's surprise announcement that they'd establish full relations in August. They began this 5-hour visit by signing further agreements to promote business and set up multiple direct flights between the two countries. The US Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin and the Middle East envoy Ari Berkovitz were also on board the flight from Abu Dhabi.
BBC News. The Supreme Court in Burundi has sentenced the country's former president Pierre Buyoya to life in prison for involvement in the murder of his successor, President Melchior Ndadaye, in 1993. Mr. Buyoya, who's now an African Union envoy, was sentenced in his absence. His lawyer says he'll appeal. The assassination of Mr. Ndadaye, who was Burundi's first democratically elected and first Hutu head of state, led to a civil war in which hundreds of thousands died. The Turkish military is reported to have begun to withdraw from one of its largest outposts in northwest Syria. The Morek outpost is among a number set up by the Turks in 2018 during efforts to halt fighting around the province of Idlib, where Turkey backs some rebel groups. France is to give 2 of its top honours to the teacher beheaded by an Islamist teenager last week. The National Education Minister, Jean-Michel Blanquer, called Samuel Paty a martyr well worthy of awards, including the Legion of Honour. Hugh Schofield reports from Paris.
Bestowing membership of the Legion of Honour is a tribute that elevates Samuel Paty from the modest teacher he was a few days ago to a symbol of the values of the Republic in its struggle against Islamic extremism. The distinction will be conferred during tomorrow evening's ceremony, held fittingly in the main courtyard of the Sorbonne University in Paris. Mr. Paty will also be made posthumously a Commander of the Order of Academic Palms, a distinction like the Legion of Honour set up by Napoleon 2 centuries ago for excellence in the field of education.
A new report says China's richest individuals have increased their wealth more this year during the coronavirus pandemic than in the previous 5 years combined. The Hurun report said rising share prices and stock market listings had helped increase their wealth. Online shopping and gaming companies saw a surge in sales during lockdowns. BBC News.
That was the WinFM Headline News, brought to you by KDP Enterprises, Caribbean Alliance, Carib Brewery, CNC Trading, The Grange.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world. Whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous, you can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air. We get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises, telephone number 466-9595.
Without limits, happy and free. The skin you're in with no apology. The one to seize the day. Grab an LLB. Live, love, be. With LLB. Live, love, be. Live, love, be. Be who you know you can be. Grab an LLB. Live, love, be. Angostura, lemon, lime and bitters. Live, love, be.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Till you walk with a local reputation and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. People that you can trust, your business, property, we got you covered. Motor or personal, whatever it is, we got you covered. 130 years in this business, we've got you covered. For all your insurance needs, visit or call us at 465-2631 or 469-5303. Delia Walwyn, people you can trust.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts, offering 24-hour nursing, therapeutic and residential care for older adults? It's situated at Otley, 7 miles east of Vastair in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodation to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020, fax 466-8221, or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com, or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
It's the Hartsford's Building Center's Very Good Electrical and Plumbing Fixture Sales Event, happening now until October 31st. All electrical and plumbing fittings will be discounted by 25%. That's right, 25% off all electrical and plumbing fixtures, happening now until October 31st. The Very Good Electrical and Plumbing Fixture Sales Event at Hartsford's Building Centers on St. Kitts and Nevis. Very good products, very good prices, very good discounts on all electrical and plumbing fixtures at Hartsford's Building and Nevis Centers, happening now. This is very good. See store for details.
Hi there, very good afternoon to you. Time to welcome you now to the second segment of Voices, coming to you compliments S.L. Hosford and Company Limited.
Independent sales drive for the months of September to October. Horsford's Automotive will be on their biggest sales drive for 2020. Come to Horsford's Automotive in the months of September and October and drive away with up to $30,000 discount on select models. Your choice of either free gas for 3 months or up to $1,000 in free groceries. 50% discount on VAT. Yup, for the months of September and October, pay just 8.5% on VAT. Free servicing for 1 year. Free bill of sale. Free registration, licensing, and tinting. 0 down payment. That's right. Absolutely no down payment. And much more. It's the Hartsford's Independent Sales Drive. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details. It's the Hartsford's Building Center's Very Good Electrical and Plumbing Fixture Sales Event, happening now until October 31st. All electrical and plumbing fittings will be discounted by 25%. This is very good. That's right, 25% off all electrical and plumbing fixtures, happening now until October 31st. The Very Good Electrical and Plumbing Fixture Sales Event at Hartsford's Building Centers on St. Kitts and Nevis. Very good products, very good prices, very good discounts on all electrical and plumbing fixtures at Hartsford's Building and Nevis Centers, happening now. This is very good. See store for details.
Your tune to Win FM is 90.9 on your dial. The second segment of Voices for today, the 20th day of October 2020. The 20th of 2020. We have an open forum today on Voices. We've been taking a look at what's happening around the region, around the world. And we'll continue doing that in the program for the rest of the day. Of course, that does not stop you from raising your issues when you call 4660989, 6620989, or 7620989. And just before the break, we were listening to the World Health Organization's press briefing on Monday. Some of the issues of the second wave of COVID-19 in some parts of Europe, the winter season, concerns as well. There was a question and answer session, journalists from around the world posing questions. We'll continue that a bit later on in the program, but right now we want to hear from you, so give us a call. Let's hear what's on your mind. What's occupying your attention this afternoon? Good afternoon, you're live and on the air.
Mr. Bacchus, good day.
Yes, good day to you, sir.
Yeah, I just come across something on social media, and it's pertaining to the late Maurice Bishop.
Yes.
Now, he would have been 74 years today, and just want two ways. I thought I tried calling yesterday, but I couldn't get it with Socrates. So I just want to remember Maurice Bishop today and his birthday with the revolution that happened in Grenada. I don't think I heard anything about it during the news, and, I just want to mention that right now.
All right. I know you always stay up to date, my brother.
I try.
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it.
Man.
Yeah, man, appreciate it. Yeah, so, the call is absolutely right. The 37th anniversary of the murder of Maurice Bishop. And that was on October 19th, if you can recall. And there's a caller raised that issue. We have an open forum just for the benefit of those people who may not remember. There was an article published in Barbados today. It was published yesterday. And I'm going to read a bit from it. It says, Grenada marked the 37th anniversary of the shooting death of its first ever left-wing Prime Minister Maurice Bishop, with a call for closure to the families of those who were killed at Fort George on that day. The shooting of Bishop, who led the People's Revolutionary Government, PRG, and some cabinet ministers and supporters triggered off an American-led invasion of the island 6 days later. Bishop had himself seized power in 1979 when his New Jewel movement overthrew then Prime Minister Sir Eric Gairy in the first ever coup in the English-speaking Caribbean community, CARICOM. 4 years later, Bishop was put under house arrest by his Deputy Prime Minister Bernard Cord. The executive member of the Morris Bishop on October 19, 1983, Martyrs Foundation, Dr. Terence Marishaw, laments the fact that 37 years later, there's still no closure for the families of those who were killed. So there's a footnote there for you, and thanks to the caller for reminding us of that particular event in the Caribbean. We're back to the phone lines we go. Call you live and on the air. All right, caller, sorry. Must apologize. Do call back, 466-0989, 662-0989, 762-0989. We have an open forum, so we're standing by for your calls. And a bit later on, we're going to go back to that WHO press briefing. Quite a number of interesting issues raised there as we consider reopening the borders of St. Kitts and Nevis. Caller, you on the air. Good afternoon to you.
Yes, Mr. Bacchus, good morning. Good afternoon, Mr. Bacchus.
Yes, sir.
I want to share the sentiment with the caller. I think you dropped the ball, Mr. Bacchus. We should have hearing some clips on that yesterday and throughout the evening. Because remember, that was a thing in the Caribbean, eh? And God bless Dr. Kennedy A. Alphonsus Simmons and Eugenia Charles to step up to the plate and get Reagan to give us real assistance in the Caribbean. The Caribbean is a nice place. And we're not going to let people come and bring them kind of behavior around us here. And we just sit down calm. I'm from Moonlight, Cecil Roberts University, eh? And that's where we lecture, Bouncing Williams and others. Asagay, great man, great Kitty Bond. Mr. Bacchus, have a good day and keep it going.
Okay, buddy. Thank you so much for calling. All right. There's Mr. Mattis there reminding me they dropped the ball yesterday. I did. No argument about that. So getting back to the Barbados Today article and the reminiscences of Dr. Terence Marishaw, who is the executive member of the Morris Bishop on October 19, 1983 Martyrs Foundation. He told Barbados Today that there's still no closure, and particularly for the families and victims of the October 19, 1983 violence. There's been closure to the perpetrators. They've been freed. They're living their best lives, he said. A lot of innocent Grenadians were gunned down. Some lost a limb, lost an eye, and they continue to suffer. Up to this day, we are still no closer in terms of getting what led to the recovery of the remains of Morris Bishop and his cabinet colleagues. We are still no closer in terms of getting what will lead to the recovery of the remains of Morris Bishop and his cabinet colleagues who died October 19, 1983. We know what happened up to a point. The onus is now on the Americans to come forward and tell us what they have done with the remains, said Mr. Marishaw, who is of the firm belief that identifying the missing remains of Bishop and his cabinet colleagues will not only bring closure to their families, but to the entire nation. The foundation held its annual service at Fort George in memory of those who had died when soldiers of the People's Revolutionary Army opened fire on demonstrators who had just freed Bishop from house arrest. And of course, another excerpt there from that article in Barbados Today, just for our listeners. We go back to the phone lines and hear from this caller. Call you live and on the air. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bacchus.
Miss Henry, good afternoon to you. How are you this afternoon?
I'm joining the funeral. Good afternoon to all the listeners home and abroad. You know, it's interesting, the thing about Morris Bishop. I was at UWI at the same time and doing economics. And the professor, the head of the economic department, Professor Mark Figaro, you ever hear the name before?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. My white Rasta brother used to call him. White and got his long, long locks. Anyway, he had taken a sabbatical and had gone to Grenada to help out, with the implementation of everything. I met him when I went there in 82. And I was, at that same time, in my final year, doing this course on the economics of political transformation. Socialist course. And Mr. Bacchus, the biggest turn-off for me from socialism and everything was the march. Imagine when the news reached campus that Maurice Bishop was imprisoned and killed. If you're familiar, Trevor Monroe had a Communist Party, huh? They had a big parade around what we call Ring Road, for those who know campus, a circular road. And I was so upset. People were rejoicing, so of course, I had to have a confrontation. And one of them said to me, well, Bishop is not he's not the revolution, so you got to go. I said, well, wait, is that the value you all put on life? Is that the value? Because you're talking about his own people, And the accusation was that he was moving too much to the right. Because they had expected the private for them to take over the private sector. And they said instead he was allowing investors to come in, and he allowed the companies that were here before to continue. And I was so disappointed, because I wanted to see how this socialism thing actually worked. Got all kind of good news, and there was actually a fellow from Grenada in my class, the same political class I was doing. And when the news reached, he was so distraught because he said they were actually asking the students to come home. The brother said, are you not going home? Because he had been to Russia for training and everything, And they had high hopes because they had a number of students that they were training, to fill places and stuff like that. And it grieved me. I went to Grenada in 87 for a 6 weeks course. And I was, all the news you would have heard and the good things. When I went to Grenada, I was looking to see something different. In terms of the economy and stuff like that. But there are a lot of people still carrying a lot of hurt, on both sides of the issue. And, he had done a lot for them in terms of education. Just like the Cuban, because remember the Cuban, that time the airport was almost finished. Modern airport. But, we become pawns in the Cold War and the American game. And it seemed to me as if most of the gains that Bishop had made were lost. And the society had to settle back down. And the poor get what they could. So I said to myself, boy, sometimes when you step out to do what you think is good, there are other people evaluating, and this power struggle. Well, the power struggle starts in heaven, so when they reach earth, they get more fierce. So I empathize with the Grenadian people. I can't say which would have been better because it was destroyed. You understand? They didn't have enough time, but they had done some work. But the way the so-called socialist and communist people put a value on life, that turned me off. And it continues, you hear them. When I hear some people praising, socialism, it has its good tenets, but there is little value for life. You either fall in or they take you out, You either fall in, you take Cuba. Cuba has good things, but what? You think like a with us calling on his radio and one up our mouth, you think you could have think you, man? Well, half a sex would have gone in. You can't. So while it has benefits, you lose the freedom of speech and expression unless you're willing to face the bullet. So to the people of Grenada, and you know he came to St. Kitts, Mr. Bacchus?
Yes, yes, I know that.
Man, what a thing. You would have sworn he was Prince Charles. We were all excited because you never imagined that there was anyone willing who would dare the capitalist system and survive. So when he came to the OECS, I think it was the Central Bank opening, came 1981, I think it was. Man, while the other leaders were there, everybody wanted to see who is this Maurice Bishop. Because when you live among oppressed people, because our people still oppressed, I mean the one who called you the other day from the embassy. Oppressed, when they can't control the sanction. You see, and that's the crazy thing, you know. The lack of appreciation for life. When you put on all these sanctions and you starve the people to death, where's the love? Where's the love? And then you put on some on Venezuela and you have starved the people again. Where's your love? You know? Some very fierce thing. The aim is to make you so hungry and fierce that you turn up on your own. I went to Jamaica, as I said, 82. And man, the stranglehold, you know, the backside. Michael Manley taking upon himself, he wants Jamaica deserve a greater portion of their resources, so he wanted to put some tax and more royalties. What happened? I think it's Alcor. Alcor is in Guyana too?
I think they used to be there, Alco.
Huh?
I think they used to be in Guyana as well.
Yeah. Pull out. One from Canada, and I think they went to Brazil or somewhere else. All the people asked for, you know, was a greater share of their own natural resources. You see Guyana? Guyana is in the same position, you know. If they don't negotiate now, they will do like what they did to Guyana's sugar industry and what they did to Guyana's economy. When any leader come across who think he's strong and bold enough to demand better for his people, the people pay a high price. So I hope this PPP, when you see them running down in Guyana, there's no love for Guyana. As they say, America has no friends, only interests. So, better before, while everything is in recession and the oil in the ground, as somebody said the other day, go over the contracts. But then again, they have so many high-priced lawyers, they might take your whole country. You know, so what can we do? What can we do, Mr. Bacchus?
Well,
what can our leaders do?
Keep on striving for better. That's all we can do.
All they could do is strive. And when they push, you have people, just like Bernard Code, you have people who should be backing you up. Taking over the system, you don't know who is who. As Rasta said, they sell Marcus Garvey for a bag of flour, no? Is that it? Lord Jesus, help us. Help black people, God. Help black people, God. You made us and you love us. All right, Mr. Bacchus.
All right. Thank you very much, Miss Henry. As usual, we look forward to hearing from you on the program as well. And, of course, our first caller after lunch triggered it, asking the question about Maurice Bishop on the 19th of October. And Caribbean Journal sometime back had started a feature. I haven't been in touch with them for a while, but they had a feature going looking at Caribbean history some of the major people and moments in history of the region. An article written by David Rowe. That article was written when, I can't recall when it was written. See if we can get that for you. But he had a look at Morris Bishop, and I'm going to share with you what he reported about Morris Bishop. This is his account, of course. And he said at the time that, let me read a bit of it for you. One of the most important Caribbean leaders of the 20th century was Morris Bishop. His career as a politician, civil rights leader, and Caribbean statesman led to significant social change in Grenada, but he was killed in an internal coup in 1983. Bishop was born in Aruba on the 29th of May, 1944, to Grenadian parents. He moved to Grenada as a 6-year-old and had good schooling. After excelling at primary and secondary school, Bishop traveled to London, where he attended the University of London and qualified as a barrister at Gray's Inn. While at university, he was heavily influenced by the writings and philosophy of Julius Nyerere of Tanzania and developed a strong sense of black consciousness. After a short time in England, Bishop returned to Grenada and became politically active. He formed a party called the Movement for Assemblies of the People, MAP, with a socialist orientation. He soon merged MAP with another socially progressive political party being run by his childhood friend Unison Whitman. The merged organization was known as the New Jewel Movement, New Joint Action for Education, Welfare and Liberation. In 1976, Grenada United Party, GULP, won the Grenadian general election and was headed by Sir Eric Gairy. At that time, in that election, Bishop was elected to Parliament and became leader of the opposition. In 1979, Bishop and his followers seized political power in Grenada while Gairy was attending a United Nations event in New York City. Gairy sought immediate American and British intervention, but he was turned down and eventually formally resigned. Bishop formed the People's Revolutionary Government. Bishop formed the People's Revolutionary Government in Grenada and sought help from Cuba, Nicaragua, and the Soviet Union. Bishop sought to preserve relations with the United States, but Washington refused to recognize the People's Revolutionary Government or to receive a Grenadian ambassador, despite Bishop being received warmly and financially sponsored by the U.S. Black Congressional Caucus. Bishop introduced many significant improvements in Grenada. He eliminated illiteracy, promoted agricultural development, promoted tertiary education, extended legal rights to women, created tourism initiatives, and built a modern international airport. Many Grenadian students were given scholarships to Cuba and the Soviet Union. In 1982, a dispute developed within the People's Revolutionary Government over the issue of the desirability of shared or joint leadership. And in October 13th, on the 13th of October though, on the 13th of October, let me get back in that in just a moment. Okay, so on October 13th, 1983, Bishop was placed under house arrest by a clique led by Bernard Cord. Bishop was forcibly released from house arrest by an enraged crowd, which then marched with him to the military compound in Fort Rupert. While there, troops under the command of General Hudson Austin fired on the crowd and then executed Bishop and a number of other government ministers and civilians inside the fort. On the 25th of October 1983, the United States, with assistance of the OECS, Barbados, and Jamaica, invaded Grenada and assumed control over the country. Bishop's remains were buried in an unmarked grave that has never been located. Despite his unanticipated and tragic execution, Bishop's reputation as a revolutionary and regional civil rights leader remains intact. And that is the article as written by David Rowe. David, an attorney in Jamaica and Florida and a law professor at the University of Miami School of Law in Florida. Yeah, so just sharing that with you for the caller who called to remind us of the significance of the 19th of October. And just wanted to let you know what are some of the publications on some of those issues. You're listening to Voices on Win FM 98.9, compliments SL Horsford and Company Limited.
It's the Horsford's Independent Sales Drive for the months of September to October. Horsford's Automotive will be on their biggest sales drive for 2020. Come to Horsford's Automotive in the months of September and October and drive away with up to $30,000 discount on select models. Your choice of either free gas for 3 months or up to $1,000 in free groceries. 50% discount on VAT. Yup, for the months of September and October, pay just 8.5% on VAT. Free servicing for 1 year. Free bill of sale. Free registration, licensing, and tinting. 0 down payment. That's right. Absolutely no down payment. And much more. It's the Horsford's Independent Sales Drive. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details. It's the Hogswoods Building Center's very good electrical and plumbing fixture sales event happening now until October 31st. All electrical and plumbing fittings will be discounted by 25%. That's right, 25% off all electrical and plumbing fixtures happening now until October 31st. The very good electrical and plumbing fixture sales event at Hogswoods Building Centers on St. Kitts and Nevis. Very good products, very good prices, very good discounts on all electrical and plumbing fixtures at Hogswoods Building and Nevis Centers happening now. This is very good. See store for details.
Just 40 seconds now before 1 o'clock. You're tuned to Win FM. It's 90.9. It's Voices. And earlier this morning, our first segment of the program, we heard the announcement from the World Health Organization of a campaign, We Are a Family campaign, perhaps akin to the We Are the World campaign that was launched back in the day when we were struggling to deal with HIV/AIDS, with all the fear and concern and the conspiracy theories and all that. And so Kim Sledge was heard talking about the song and its significance to her and her family, and saying essentially that we are all family when you look at it in a particular way. Let's go back to the phone lines and hear from this caller. Call you live and on the air, and good afternoon to you.
Mr. Bacchus.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
You know why it's very important to get into that fellow Bishop? Because when we were very young around Bastille, when he come here in 81, I think he signed on to the Bastille Treaty, the Treaty of Bastille. Mr. Bacchus, you was watching people from all corners of St. Kitts come to watch this Grenadian boy, you know, with some tough security, you know. Some black youths, man, look, just like what you see in Africa, you know, so militant. And the guy was so, man, he bring out so much in young men, Bishop. Right on the government headquarters step, he didn't up the central bank, you know, Miss Henry. It was right on Church Street. I could remember watching moonlight up there in a Pier Sandon. Baby, Bishop had an afro. You remember afro, Mr. Bacchus?
Oh, yeah,
Tight
man.
pants and all his security, them got jean jacket.
Oh, yeah.
So you could imagine.
Oh,
Just as we leave here, went up America and come back Grenada, Bishop went in. It was a thing. But as I told you, Mr. Bacchus, God bless Sir Kennedy Simmons and Eugenio Charles in Dominica, who step up to the plate that weekend and fly to Washington and get assistance and with the whole Caribbean. Man, you might not have no Grenada. When you look at man run over Port George, I been there in Port George, you know, Mr. Bacchus. You been there?
Yes.
Mr. Bacchus,
Yeah,
you
man.
been Port George?
Yes, of course.
You watch the height where people jump from? I watch a man on TV, the man mash up himself on a lamppost. You understand? Man, it was terrible. The Caribbean is not supposed to go through them kind of things there. We have a process and we have to walk by it. Me tell you, the giveaway Marcus Garvey for £1 of rice, 2 tin of peas, and a half a coconut, and some red peas. Have a good day, Bacchus.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much. Remember, you're talking to a man from a generation where there was something called a crew cut. I don't know if you know about that. You know, in my youth, you had schools for girls and schools for boys. and your hair had to be cut a particular way before you entered the school compound. If not, you were dealt with. So when the Black Power movement caught on, and we have relatives in the States, we picked it up as well. Black is beautiful. Your hair is beautiful. You don't have to press your hair. It's your hair, and you express it. It's kinky hair. It's beautiful hair. Whatever you want to call it. That's when we used to plait our hair, man, and then comb it out. We had our fro, man. Yeah, we were proud, man. We were very, very proud indeed. Those were the days, my friend. Back to the phone lines to go. Call you live and on the air. And good afternoon.
Oh, it's me, man. You had afro too?
Oh, you better believe it.
Up to now, I still afro in.
Yeah, man.
Up to now, I still afro in. I never straightened my hair yet. Always black conscious. Now, I don't know if you heard this interesting news. St. Vincent, they are campaigning, and the issue of citizenship by investment came up. You heard that part?
Man, we had
the opposition said when they win, they're gonna start the citizenship program.
Miss Henry, have to send you the back of the class, man. We had that thing on the first half of the program, man. You were not around.
Well, I was otherwise engaged.
No, we had the man saying it himself, because remember the two parties.
I had to laugh.
Yeah, the two parties also signed a code of conduct declaration on Friday, so it was quite surprising to hear some of the remarks I heard from the comrade.
Oh, so anyway, so I am thinking to myself, well, Comrade Kenny is a graduate of the Mona School of Economics, eh? And, we are radicals, put it that way. We aspire for the reformation, the transformation of the economy and the region. So I say, my man was there, he said, play ready, he said, buddy heard the tracks. But I am saying to myself, imagine when the opposition begin to say, you see what St. Kitts get, you see what St. Lucia get, you see what Antigua and Dominica got by it. I am waiting to see what would be the response of the electorate to that. What do you think?
I don't know, to be honest. I really don't know.
Because I agree with Kenny Anthony, I don't quite go for selling your citizenship like that. Because you can easily be swamped. When it becomes your main income earner, you're in trouble, That's why I'm saying this. We have to get the economy diversified.
But you see, the thing about it is that countries use whatever resources they think will help to boost the standard of living of the people of the country. Those countries in the OECS that have entered the CBI have done pretty well over the years. That's
what I'm saying. So I am wondering what impact would Kenny Anthony's speech have, if any, on the electorate?
You mean
when they are looking on it?
You mean Ralph Gonzalez?
Ralph Gonzalez, right? Ralph Gonzalez.
You're calling Kenny Anthony from St. Lucia.
They're looking on.
Well, he is. To be fair to him, right? He has always taken the position, Dr. Gonzalez. That's
an honorable position. You don't think so?
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know. It's a.
What do you mean, poor and proud?
We're going to have a panel discussion on that to look at all the elements of it. But he's always said, look, the patrimony. He called it the patrimony. Should not be sold. You should have to whatever. That's been his position. But others have said, look, this is a resource we have, and we have to lift the country upward.
Right, it has become a commodity now, put it that way.
Well, someone's saying, well, if people are making money off it and I could use that money to build my country, why shouldn't I do that? So I think it needs some more in-depth.
So you should have some escape route, eh?
You got to have some proper discussion
route.
As to how you manage the process, how you share the wealth, and how do you safeguard the country at the same time. But all those considerations you're talking about.
The trouble is, for those who are selling, the more they sell, the more fees and so they get. While at the same time, our population is fairly stagnant. Because we are migratory people. I think we are migratory people.
Well, in some cases, people are selling access to other places. So that has been one of the selling points, that with this document, you're able to access Shenzhen countries, you're able to get to
I understand.
That sort of
It
thing.
has high value, It has a lot of value, and it does help with the development of the country. But then it also creates another problem.
Yes, it's not simple. It's complicated.
No, it's not simple. It's very complex. Because, for example,
complicated.
now, even though they say that they are not to vote, I have heard local people saying, well, if they're citizens, they must be entitled to all. You understand? It's like bishop and court. So
But
while
you see,
the
the
thing was
argument,
put in,
the argument will always be, citizen.
you can't have different citizens.
Yeah, that's the issue. What does the word citizen mean?
Citizen mean you buy it, you think it, because we will be outnumbered, I want to know. I wonder if by now we have half of our population, including the diaspora and the investment citizens.
Well, it would be interesting to see if that was challenged in a court, what would happen. I mean, there are regulations. I know there are regulations. I've heard about as saying that if you become a citizen by investment, that you're not allowed to vote. I've heard that, but I wonder whether that would stand up.
It's actually in the law.
Right, but I wonder if it would stand up in a court of law.
When you go and you sign up for the thing, you knew what you were getting into.
Yeah, but that's only one part of the equation. The other part is you're now a citizen. So why can't you?
And then it's
why
power,
can't you? Why
up
can't
against
you?
Power.
Why can't you elect your representative? You're a citizen. Think about that.
No, Mr. Bacchus, we all voted. Don't miss, and then we are breeding a new set of citizens, It's another thing some of us overlook. We are breeding a new set of citizens. Those who come in and born here, you cannot say that they're not petitions or division. They have every right.
Well, there's no particular look of a petition and division,
Not look, because some of us are of the same ethnic group.
Yeah, it's just the whole
But
Caribbean.
people still question
The whole Caribbean
the
is all.
citizenship of the children.
The whole Caribbean is a mix of people from all over the place.
And God bless us.
Oh yes.
God bless us. But I am anxious to see what effect, if any, would that discussion have on the election at a time like this, eh?
Well, you still got a lot of years to go before the election. This is a good time to have a discussion about it.
Yeah, no, what I mean in St. Vincent, when the election is next week?
You're talking about you're talking about the elections in St. Vincent and Grenadines. I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I'm going to try to get some people on board. I tried today, but I couldn't get through. I'll try again and see if I can get some people from St. Vincent on the line. My good buddy died, Jerry George, as you know. So that used to be our go-to guy at Win FM. We just called Jerry, and Jerry would give us the whole 9 yards, introduce us to people and all that. But I don't have that contact now, so I'll see what I can do and see if we can get some people to weigh in on how they see it.
Or maybe if you could listen to the campaign thing, because sometimes the campaign story does be on YouTube.
Yes, well, we listened to, that's how we got the Ralph Gonzalez piece and all that. There's some in Facebook and all that. But still you can't ask any questions on Facebook, man. You want somebody you could talk to.
I know. Some unaligned person. Somebody is waiting to call in.
Yeah, we got somebody in the line.
All right, then.
Thank you. Yeah, the idea is to try to get some people on the line, so we give you a chance to ask your questions as well, not just me alone asking questions. Let's go back to the phone lines and hear from another caller and hear what this caller has to say. You're listening to Voices on Win FM. Call you live and on the air. Good afternoon to you.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Bacchus.
Yes, Mr. McMahon, good afternoon.
Yeah, one of the unfortunate things about the Grenada Revolution is that we have not learned its lessons. Back then we were pawns in the East-West rivalry and the ideological struggle. You had Manly and Seago. They were polar opposites, and various countries adopted either pro-West or pro-East stance. We just continue to let ourselves be divided, right? Even though it's 2020. It may no longer be East-West, but we are still allowing ourselves to be divided. So you have the pro-Venezuela factions and you have the pro-US factions, or the pro-China and pro-Taiwan. I don't understand why we in the region can't see our interests. Right? Just like somebody said, America don't have friends; they only have interests. Why can't we adopt the same in our foreign policy? We have this wishy-washy friends of all and enemies of none. That just don't cut it in the realities of the world these days. It's not real politics. Okay? Right? You have to be looking, just like how the states would say, America first. We should be looking region first. If we allow ourselves to be played like this every time, we will remain pawns forever. Right? We need more unity first locally, because we have some backward leadership here that exploit division to remain in or to acquire power, and then they export that division and backwardness to the region. Right? I mean, these leaders we have now are supposedly educated and conscious, but they seem more backward than the neo-colonialists that they replace. I don't understand it.
I'm going to ask you this
I
question.
mean, really, can you explain it, Mr. Bacchus?
No, I can't. I really can't. But I can ask you this question though, because I've been pondering it. I've been pondering it myself. Yes, you have more educated leaders, more highly qualified people who are successful in their own right. So there's no doubt about that. But it takes a special kind of leader to unite the tribes, and we've always had tribes in the Caribbean, and we've not had that kind of leadership coming along every day. It's very rare you have it, where somebody who can come along and appeal to a wide cross section of people to get that unity you're talking about. And even then, it's always under stress, because nobody really wants too much unity, because that is strength. And how are we going to exploit you if you're unified? I can't make my money off of you. You're getting in my way. So they find ways of breaking up that. When you look at the history of South Africa, you look at Zambia, Zimbabwe, Tanzania, it's the same thing. And you look in the Caribbean, it's been the same thing. You've had some inspirational leaders who come along, but they've never been given any rest at all.
But Mr. Bacchus, just like how you can realize that, right? I know you're highly qualified as well. But
No, it's the wrong person.
Just like how
no, Mr.
Mr.
McMahon, that's not going to fly. People know me too good to know that I'm not highly qualified. You're not going to get it. You're not going to get away with that. I left school very early. You continue.
Okay.
All right.
You're just modest. You're just modest. But be that as it may, the fact is you can understand that. Well, so why can't it be obvious to the people, the movers and shakers in the region too? Well, that's what I'm getting at. Why can't they see? Don't they have enough vision? What is it? What is it that stops them from realizing what is the path to tread? What is the way to go? What kind of future we want? That's what I don't understand. Right? It's not as if you do A, well, B will happen. If you do C, E will happen or D will happen. Right? There must be some path that we know we should all be taking. Right? Just like how we see, you're just speaking about the CBI just now. Okay? Obviously, a lot of the countries opted for it. Okay? So it was a successful policy because it certainly helped our region. Well, if they can determine that, well, it makes sense to follow St. Kitts and do the things that St. Kitts did in 2006 or whenever the SIDF was created, they follow the same kind of pattern to get the same kind of results. Well, why can't we make the same decisions in other areas instead of allowing ourselves to be picked off one by one with our kind of advisories and each time moving the goalposts? And then we have the backward ones within the countries who egg on the first world countries and basically laugh when they impose FinCEN's advisories and visa requirements and those things. Short-sightedness, that's what it is. Right? It's time. Somehow, maybe some other, while we wait for Mandela or whatever it is, Garvey or somebody else of that stature to come by, right? We need to make sure that at least our systems are ready for that kind of leadership. And even there, we're falling down. Right? It isn't that we don't know what to do, Mr. Bacchus. Every last party in our local situation, for instance, have embraced in their manifesto good governance. But it's the application of it. It's the application of it that is not happening. And the people not holding them accountable. Okay? I guess it's easier to blame the leadership and so on that when these things don't happen. Okay? But the fact is, if you don't hold them accountable, things will never change. Next 20 years, we'll be arguing the same old points. I mean, do we really want that? That's the question we should be asking. That's the kind of future we want? Where we have not advanced the ball any further?
Well, just think about Liat, and you'll be able to answer your question.
Again, yes, even that. You would think that we would have at least that situation down pat. Okay? I mean, we've had the experience when it was just the ships, the federal palm and the federal maple. Okay? At least Canada was visionary enough to say, well, listen, you're all island states, you're all scattered throughout the region, you have to get transportation right. We let that fail. Well, if you let that fail, and that's shipping, and there are goods moving between the islands, right? We now leave that up to shippers from extra-regional shippers, like the Tropicals and the, whatever else they call them, come in and take over our shipping. Well, are you surprised that the same thing wouldn't happen to Leah? That is what I'm saying. Right? It isn't that we don't have the competence to do these kinds of things. We don't have the leadership. That is what we lack. Okay? This is some. I don't know. People may say that I'm hard on the leaders, and that is they're just doing what the people want. But what is leadership about? Leadership, you don't lead by taking a poll, You lead by having a good vision and the competence and the charisma and so on to make people follow you, right? I mean, if we did not expect exceptionalism from our leaders, we might as well go around the corner and pick up the first person on the street and let them lead us. We have to demand better from them, man. I'm just fed up with them. That's the long and short of it.
Okay, Mr. Blackmore.
Maybe I've been around too long.
No, I understand what you're saying. I understand I understand your frustration, and you're not the only one who shares that kind of frustration. Where, in terms of, all I respond to people by saying is that we choose our leaders, and the leaders are the best of us. So it's a bit unfair to say the leaders are not really doing this and doing that.
Well, even that is questionable, Mr. Bacchus.
Is we not doing anything? It's not the leaders.
Sometimes we know they're not good for us, but we elect them anyway.
Well, we say that. What we say is that they're better than the other set of people, so that's why you pick them. We always have a way, We have a way of justifying, We have a way of explaining it.
Yes, when you live long enough, you know that anything under the sun can be justified.
Yes.
You could find something to justify anything, just about anything.
Exactly.
That's the unfortunate state of affairs. Well, Bacchus for president.
Oh, no, not at all. I don't have the capacity.
You see?
No, can't do it.
The good people don't want anything to do with this.
No, nothing to do with that at all. No, because, Anyway, Mr. McMahon, good talking to you. All right, so To the issue of the region, I mean, we have so much to be proud about. Our people have gone everywhere and have done extremely well. We're living in the most beautiful part of the world. We've got lots to celebrate. At the same time, we also suffer from friendly fire, and we've been unable to get a few heavy lifting projects to the place we'd like them to be, because we have no sustained approach to these things. We have a discussion about them. We have a lot of bright people. I was telling a colleague of mine this morning, we're talking about my homeland, Guyana, and we're talking about, perceived, lack of leadership in some areas. And I was trying to explain in my own simple way that sometimes when you're not accustomed to much and then you're given a lot and you can't hold your drinks, you end up getting drunk very, very quickly, So that can be a problem sometimes when you get to places that are magnificent and you have no experience and you get carried away by the power and the seduction is so is so overwhelming that before you know it, you forgot why you were elected.
It's the Horsford's Independent Sales Drive for the months of September to October. Horsford's Automotive will be on their biggest sales drive for 2020. Come to Horsford's Automotive in the months of September and October and drive away with up to $30,000 discount on select models. Your choice of either free gas for 3 months or up to $1,000 in free groceries. 50% discount on VAT. Yup, for the months of September and October, pay just 8.5% on VAT. Free servicing for 1 year. Free bill of sale. Free registration, licensing, and tinting. 0 down payment. That's right. Absolutely no down payment. And much, much more. It's the Horsford's Independent Sales Drive. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details. It's the Hogsworth's Building Center's very good electrical and plumbing fixture sales event happening now until October 31st. All electrical and plumbing fittings will be discounted by 25%. That's right, 25% off all electrical and plumbing fixtures happening now until October 31st. The very good electrical and plumbing fixture sales event at Hogsworth's Building Centers on St. Kitts and Nevis. Very good products, very good prices, very good discounts on all electrical and plumbing fixtures at Hogsford's Building and Nevis Centers happening now. This is very good. See store for details.
Each one of the FM is 90.9. We're just about to wrap today's program. We'll leave you with this very dark prediction, I should say perhaps very white prediction, that the pandemic is approaching. Oh boy, you don't want to hear it. All right. Let's play benefits for you. Here is a report from PBS, a prediction that's a bit daunting at this time. This report will take us out of today's program of Voices. I'm Clive Bacchus, wishing you and yours all the very best. Stay tuned. I will end with a report from the PBS, a prediction about the pandemic that should get your attention.
Talk more now about that surge we just heard about in North Dakota, Montana, and many other states, and what can be done as the country is back to coping with 70,000 new cases a day. Dr. Michael Osterholm is the director of the Center for Infectious Disease Research and Policy at the University of Minnesota, and he joins me now. Dr. Osterholm, welcome back to the NewsHour. Help us understand now, the majority of states are seeing another increase in cases, new record daily highs in some places. Why is this happening right now?
We actually have a convergence of factors which really are making for what is, I think, going to be the darkest part of the pandemic over the course of the next 12 weeks. First of all, pandemic fatigue, as was described in this report, is happening. Many people who believe that in April and May that they had to take steps to keep from getting infected and didn't get infected and thought, well, we've kind of dodged this bullet, have now by Labor Day become to the point of where, I'm done with the virus, even though the virus is not done with them. Then we have a growing segment of the population that I characterized as having pandemic anger. They don't believe that the pandemic is real. They think it's a hoax. They think it's politically motivated. And when you put that together then with indoor air, meaning more people are now spending time inside, we know the transmission of the virus is greatly enhanced. We're really seeing the perfect storm. People don't understand that weddings, funerals, family reunions, class reunions, city meetings, All of these things are now playing into the transmission of this virus. And last but not least is bars and restaurants, which we're opening up more of, not closing them down. We see tremendous transmission in these areas. So when you add this together, I don't see anything unless the U.S. population decides that they're going to reconsider how to approach this virus. I think between now and the holidays, we are going to have by far the largest number of cases we've seen to date.
When you say the darkest days are ahead, that phrase sticks out to me. What does that mean? What does that look like in the weeks ahead, especially as you mentioned, holidays are coming up. People may be traveling and gathering in larger numbers.
Well, first of all, we're going to see these large numbers. And we already saw this past summer what it looks like to have 70,000 cases a day. And it's horrible, even when it was only in a few states where they were really in trouble. Now we're going to see many more states are going to be in trouble, and the numbers are going to go much higher. On top of that, when you listen to the very excellent reports you just had, they talked about opening up new beds. You know, the big problem in this country is going to be about new beds. We can get those. What we're running out of are people who have expertise in intensive care medicine, doctors, nurses, the support teams. And when you don't have that kind of expertise at hand, even though you may have a bed, you're not getting the care that may necessarily save your life. And so expect to see not only severe illnesses increasing and the number of people in ICUs, but expect to see the deaths increase. And that's what's going to be a challenge for us. And then, as you said, we're getting closer to the holidays. And, you know, I have said for months, this is our COVID year. Expect it to be different. Don't try to make it like last year or hopefully it'll be like next year. And I think that based on the number of experiences I have personally been involved with, where young adults take home the virus to mom and dad, grandpa and grandma, Uncle Bill and Aunt Jane for some kind of celebration, only to have them become infected and be dead 3 weeks later. We don't want that to happen at the holidays, so that means we're going to have to really all reconsider, how do we do the holidays? Is it time to go home? We all want to see our loved ones, but we have to ask ourselves, if we really love them, what are we going to do to help protect, particularly those who are older, who have underlying health problems? This is going to be a huge challenge.
Let me ask you about the message coming from the administration, because we hear them saying again and again, help is around the corner, just hang on, stay with us, the vaccine is coming. Secretary of HHS Azar said just yesterday, hang in there, we are so close, is the phrase he used. When it comes to the vaccine, or the end of this pandemic in some way, are we that close?
Well, you know, I kind of liken it to be sitting on one side of the Grand Canyon looking across. You know, if you're considering flying in an airplane, that's close. But that's a big, big ditch to get across. And right now, we're not going to see any meaningful impact with the vaccine for months. Before a vaccine could be approved, and then even the first doses roll out to those at highest risk, most notably healthcare workers, and then for the rest of the general public to be offered vaccine, we're talking well into the second, maybe even the third quarter of next year. We don't have any new magic drugs coming. In contrast to what's been said, even if we find the monoclonal antibodies to be helpful, we can only treat a very, very small percentage of people who might get infected. So when you add this all up, we're still in it for the long haul, and somehow we have got to have the general public understand that. You know, I think right now one of the most important medicines we could buy for this country is an FDR moment. We need leadership that will sit down and tell us what is happening, where are we going, what's our plan to get there, not sugarcoat it, not over, scare people, just tell them the truth. And right now, we just don't have that happening.
And that's where we leave it in a somber note. That report there from PBS NewsHour prediction. The darkest or whitest part of the pandemic is approaching. Depends on how you like to use your words. And you heard why. Well, thank you for your time, and we do look forward to being in your company come tomorrow, 11 o'clock, for another edition of Voices on WinFM 98.9. Thank you so much to Rams Trading and to SL Horsewood & Company Limited. I'm Clive Bacchus. Good afternoon to you.